We've got Kim Kardashian shilling Ethereum Max. We have banking giant Morgan Stanley to launch a new Bitcoin fund, and supposedly Bitcoin now over 50% green energy. Does that mean that Tesla will resume taking Bitcoin payments? We're going to take a look at the crypto charts as well as update you on everything that you need to know with what's happening in crypto today. What's up, guys? My name is Adam Winnig, and go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss anything we do. We have an entire team researching, scouring the internet, scouring articles, tweeting to bring you this show so that way you don't have to. Ideally, you can just spend 5-10 minutes watching the show each day and be updated on everything you need to know crypto. So if you'd like to be updated and you like cryptocurrencies, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. Okay, with that being said, let's dive into it and let's take a look at what's happening in the market. We see that Bitcoin is kind of hovering around this $40,000 range. It's down 2% on the day. We see Ethereum kind of hovering around this 2,500 mark, down 4% on the day. Pretty much everything for today is kind of a little bit in the red, not horrible, nothing out of the normal for the crypto market, but pretty much everything just slightly in the red today. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's actually happening inside of the charts. We're going to take a first look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, and we can see here we're just in this volatility compression pattern still. Prices compressing beautifully, and usually what happens is price will compress to a smaller range, and then it'll break out either to the upside or to the downside. So we'll see what happens, but you can think of this as kind of like the way it was explained to me was like, think about, you hit like a chime or something like that, boom, and it like makes this huge noise, right? And then price is like boom, and then it kind of like rings out, right? Price like rings out, and it rings on out, right? And that's kind of what's happening before there's going to be another big whack and price will go off in one direction. Okay, so that's what's happening. Kind of just boring. It's really been quite boring trading since this May crash kind of happened. We'll take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin was a little bit more exciting, and we'll actually talk about the Bitcoin death cross, just because this is something that has been talked about a lot recently. We see the same thing with Bitcoin. We had this big sell-off, volatility compression pattern, and we did see it break out of this pattern here and create a high above here, but it looks like price is coming back. Let's see if it'll come back and test this kind of compression pattern that it was forming, and then maybe take off more to the upside. Now, talking about this death cross, which is basically takes into account the 50-day and the 200-day moving average, which we can see the 200-day moving average here in this kind of light blue, and then we can see the 50-day moving average here in this darker blue. And generally, historically speaking, in the past couple bull runs, when these two have actually crossed, when the 50 EMA has crossed to the downside of the 200 EMA, I mean, that's been kind of like a sign that the run is over and price has kind of died off from there. So if you take a look back in like 2017, you can see it right here. You can see that when the moving averages crossed, okay, then price kind of like died out and we went into this bear market. So that's what people are afraid of. We haven't officially had the death cross happen yet, so to speak. So we'll see if this happens out. We did have this push up on Bitcoin, so maybe that'll delay the death cross from happening for a little bit. And who knows, Bitcoin could take off, which we are hopeful of, and we think has a high potential of actually doing. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Now, why are we looking at Ethereum? Why do we look at these three charts? Well, Ethereum can kind of give us a gauge of the altcoin market, what's happening with altcoins. And again, nothing really exciting happening with most altcoins and with Ethereum as far as price goes, because we just kind of had this big sell-off, and then price has just been kind of in this, again, volatility compression pattern. We're waiting for some sort of breakout. You can see it here on the hourly chart. You kind of see that it's down near the bottom of this volatility compression pattern, which may be actually a good time to buy if you want to trade it up to the other upper end of the range and you're just looking to trade it kind of short term. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what's actually happening in the news. We see that the banking giant Morgan Stanley family has basically decided that they are going to open a new Bitcoin fund, which is awesome. So that is good news. We also see Kim Kardashian, this is kind of funny, that's been shilling Ethereum Max. And it says that the SEC probably won't be impressed. Kim Kardashian had this post on her Instagram. Are you guys into crypto? This is not financial advice. My friends told me about Ethereum Max, blah, 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 blah. And you can see the price of Ethereum Max. I mean, it's just like, it's worth nothing. This is like a crap coin. And there's nothing really behind it. And we also did see it. I don't know if you guys watched the Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather fight, but Floyd Mayweather had like an Ethereum Max. I think it was on his shorts. He had Ethereum Max. So this is pretty interesting to see. But if you take a look at what's actually happened with price, nothing's really happened with price. Even since that fight, when was that fight? If we go back and look at it, it was on June 6th, right? And we look at what the price was around June 6th. It was like here. And so prices kind of just like died off and continue to kind of dump even more. It was up at its all-time highs here at, I don't even know what that price is. There's just so many zeros before it. It's just a crap coin. So don't buy into this BS hype. Like, I mean, I guess like, you know, it's your money, do whatever you want to, but like, it's extremely risky to put it lightly. Next on the list here is we see that Bitcoin whales have accelerated transfers around the $40,000 level. So there was a massive whale that transferred 5,000 Bitcoin from their exchange from Coinbase to their digital wallet, which was a value of around $202 million worth of Bitcoin, which is crazy. And why is this bullish for Bitcoin anytime we see big whales that are transferring their money off of exchanges and into cold wallets or digital wallets? This is generally a bullish sign because people go to exchanges to buy assets and then they take them off to secure them. So this means that likely these whales are buying, they're taking it off the exchanges because they expect there to be a big run and they're holding it for the long term, which is pretty awesome to see that happening. Another really interesting piece of news actually came out that said that 98% of CFOs say that their hedge funds will have invested in Bitcoin by 2026, according to this study, which is really quite interesting. They interviewed a whole bunch of different hedge fund managers, and 98% said that they would expect their funds to invest at least 7.2% of their assets into cryptocurrency by 2026. So guys, the space is only getting bigger. It's only getting more institutionalized. It's only getting more adoption every single day. So it's like, hold your horses. We're going through kind of the rangy, choppy motion where there's not that much exciting stuff that's happening with price, but if you can hold for a longer period of time, you're going to do great, in my opinion. So yeah, that's actually pretty big piece of news there. We also see something interesting happening with crypto miners eyeing cheap power in Texas, but they fear over impact on the grid. So as a lot of you guys know, basically Texas has some of the most abundant sources of renewable energy and is highly deregulated on their power grid. And essentially, there's a lot of miners that are looking to come to Texas. And actually, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, is actually promoting mining, which is really awesome. And he said that Texas has not only the cheapest electricity in the US, but some of the cheapest in the entire globe. So obviously, miners are going to go wherever the electricity and power is the cheapest. And it looks like there's a lot of talk about a lot of miners moving on over to Texas, which is really cool to have a lot of this activity starting to happen inside of the United States, and the governor of Texas being so crypto friendly, which we've seen as of recently. Also, we saw back then, a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk kind of spurred this whole big market sell-off when he said that Tesla's not going to be accepting Bitcoin as payment because of the lack of its green energy usage. So according to this article, it basically says that Bitcoin's green energy usage now exceeds 50%. Will Tesla resume taking payments? I don't know, but this was from a CEO of a mining pool that basically claimed that Bitcoin is now using 50% clean energy. And basically he was talking about how in China, a lot of these mining operations have actually been shut down or criticized by the government, and only hydropower mining farms located in Sichuan have managed to remain unscathed, according to a renowned crypto miner. So we don't know what metric Elon Musk is using to determine the green energy usage and whatnot, but we do know that Bitcoin seems to be going more green and more green these days. We saw El Salvador using geothermal activity and their active volcanoes to mine Bitcoin. So we see a lot of this happening. So with that being said, if this was helpful and you'd like to get a free membership where you can try out our Spiral Guide algorithm, get access to Lee Ryder, the original crypto didact, who's been trading Bitcoin since it was 1 penny, and get his daily analysis, as well as the trades that he takes on his fund, then you can do so. You can try it out for free at blueedgefinancial.com/crypto, or you can just go to blueedgefinancial.com. And if this was helpful and you'd like to stay up to date on everything crypto, then go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. And we will see you tomorrow.